Welcome again to Beale Talk. In this episode, we're going to look at the whole business of maths and how it affects the reality of our own existence. Now, we're living in a society where people are afraid of maths. People are afraid of mathematics. And of course, it is also used as a means of differentiating between the preferences of the genders. Now we talk about male and female. Today, the whole gender thing is totally different. So male and female does not cover the range of gender when we speak. So forgive me, but that's where I am now. There's a bit of confusion, so I will not go there too deeply. But I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So males, it is perceived, love mathematics. Of course, females, most of them, generally speaking, hate mathematics, and they are more emotional. Men love mathematics, less emotional. That's the perception that is out there. Now, my talk is not about trying to take a position or to verify which is wrong or which is right. I'm not trying to put forward any of those hypotheses. I am just saying that we have a problem. Yeah. We do not like maths. We do not practice maths enough. We do not appreciate it. We do not use it. And quite frankly, many of us do not give one hoot about anything mathematical, and that is where we lose out big time. Yeah, I want to lay a philosophical foundation because maths itself is a big philosophical issue. As a matter of fact, Pythagoras, which, I hope that most of you who are listening to this talk will know about Pythagoras' theorem. And I'm not going to go into it because, that's not what the whole thing is about. But Pythagoras is a Greek guy, and he is one of those big philosophers. And these philosophers, such as Pythagoras, they actually had maths as a big part of what they do and their whole substrate for thinking, substrate for ideas and for thought. Therefore, maths and philosophy are inextricably linked, intertwined. They're married, related, in a very, almost a DNA kind of way. But let me bring you back to where we, started, the business of maths. Now, in this world, and certainly in the universe, the existence of anything and everything is controlled by mathematics, the science of quantity. Now, I don't know if you'd like to dispute that. Because, of course, these days, you still have scientists who are disputing Einstein's theory of relativity. The challenge is out there. But that is what I have been thinking for the past 15 years. That two things control our existence. Quantities, which I call mathematics, not my original nomenclature, but mathematics and psychology. Now, as far as matter is concerned, inanimate matter, such as stone, rock, iron, whatever it is that exists, water, mountain, trees, those things do not exist on the basis of psychology unless humans are put into the equation. But humans and the way we interact with each other, with one another, you can sort out the English on that, whether or not it's each other or one another. Our interaction, for the most part, our interactions are governed by our psychological, element, our psychological attributes. So we love people A man loves his wife, his children, and we love food. We feel hungry, and when we get food, when we get something to eat, we get satisfied. We feel a love for somebody, and then we say, baby, I love you. And then that person responds by saying, I love you too. And that makes us happy. Then we start to behave in a nice way to this person. That's part of the relationship. So when we look at these things and we investigate them, and when we put them under the microscope, then we see big psychological elements performing the role in how humans relate, how they relate to each other. Then there is a mathematical element, which is the element that in some way we have some control in terms of how we execute. But generally, the rules of mathematics, the laws of quantities that govern these mathematical relationship that handles or cements our existence, these mathematical that handles the rules, the laws of these quantities that handle the relationships between things that exist in the universe. These are not rules that were created by us. No. They have been there from creation, or whatever it is that started the universe. Now, I'm not here to say it is one or the other. I'm just saying that the world, the universe, our existence is governed by mathematics. How dare do we say we do not like maths? What an audacious position to take, to say we hate maths. What, an outburst of ignorance and to some extent arrogance. Some way it is innate arrogance and a built-in, born with ignorance to say you don't like maths. In a sense, it is like saying you don't like food. Therefore, you want nothing to do with food. Because maths is really that thing that holds it together. Everything emanates from that core element called mathematics. Yeah? Our ability to apply maths, quantities, the laws of quantities, mathematical principles, is what is going to determine how we exist in this existence. Let us take some simple examples. You are driving your car, and research has shown that when you're going over 30 miles per hour, if you hit somebody at 30 miles per hour, then the chance of them surviving that accident, if it is an accident, is much better than if you were to hit them at 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour or higher, anything above 30. So what we find is that then there is an inverse relationship between the speed at which a motor vehicle hits somebody and the probability of them surviving. The higher the speed, the lower the probability. Isn't that a basic mathematical principle? Look at banking. We go to the banks every day. We lodge our money, and what happens? We are given an interest rate, and if it's a savings account or it may be an investment account, and that interest rate is applied. The interest that you get, which is different from the interest rate, will depend on the interest rate. That quantity called the interest rate will determine how much absolute dollars you make on your money over time. You see what I'm driving at here? So we're dealing with time, and we're dealing with fraction, which is what we call the interest rate. And then we're dealing with an absolute value, which is the interest that is applicable at a particular time or over a particular period. We look at our age, and our age is calculated by looking at the date that we were born, where we are now. The date we were born taken away from the date now. And if you look at it carefully, if you're born 1970, and if today it is the year 2000, all you have to do is to take away 1970 from 2000, and you get 30. Basic maths. Everything is maths. You're having sex. Let me be a little bit more politically correct here. You're making love. You are performing a little bit of coitus operation. What you're dealing with there, to you, you're only concerned about the psychology of it, and to an extent, the physical. So you are feeling good because you're enjoying the operation. You insert your penis if you're a man. If you're a woman, you receive the penis and you feel good. But let me tell you something. Ladies like to talk about glimity, or tightness. I like to say the contraction of the vaginal muscle. Your ability to hold, to keep it, to contract those vaginal muscles. That is maths. Yeah? And so, the movement of the penis in and out of the vagina, or up and down, depends on your position, will have a sensation. And that sensation is in part determined by the contraction and how much the woman is able to hold it. And be it voluntary or involuntary holding of those muscles. And that will give what is called friction. The business of friction, the business of the contraction of the vaginal muscle. All these are maths. So now we talk about the length of the penis. 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. That's maths. Yes. And there's a whole heap of maths that surrounds sexual intercourse. For me to explain all of that is beyond the scope of this talk. Then we get into the business of giving birth, pregnancy, or let me just say, you have conceived. The woman, that is. Conception is about the sperm meeting the egg. That process, we think, biological. In essence, it is. But it is more than that. What happens for one sperm out of many millions to get through to that egg and to fertilize it so that there is a conception, a zygote, and of course, a fetus that develops after. There's a lot of maths inside here, a whole heap of maths. Again, that explanation is beyond the scope of this talk. Yeah. But then again, you have what is called the gestation period, which is the period between conception and birth. 9 months for humans. That is also essential. Maths.